Welcome to the Bobby Couto Show, where we dive into the fascinating world of human experiences and excellence. With special guests, real-life anecdotes, and thought-provoking discussions. Get ready to unlock and tap into your absolute potential with your host, manifestation coach, Bobby Couto.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 88th episode of the Bobby Couto Show. It is my absolute pleasure to be at Christopher's Café in Fall River on South Main Street with the man, the legend himself, Christopher Silvia. Welcome, buddy. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, bro. Listen, I know this is kind of impromptu, and you know, I realize that there were a lot of people that want your attention. So I want you to know that I'm absolutely grateful for this time.
Grateful for you as well.
Well, thank you. Well, I know we talked a little bit, like just kind of setting up for this, and I think it's important to mention it. And I think it's important for the audience to know that just a little closer, that the show, you know, it's funny. I feel for you, bro, and I'm going to say this because I've never been attacked before. And I've never, and true and honest, like my show has never been a political show.
Right.
But we have to understand that politics are all around us, right? So if you're living a life of the pursuit of the absolute, right? Like I want to be the best version of myself.
Correct.
In order to do that, you have to involve yourself in these realms,
And
right?
that's why I'm here.
Right?
Yeah.
So with that said, here we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've been, let's see, 40 years in the city?
Yes.
Over 40 years in the city. And you're not the guy from Newport either, right? You're not the. I did some research. Funny story. There's the dead guy in Newport. It actually told me it's not the dead guy from Newport.
No.
How funny is that? Do you get that? Do you get that?
There's an arsonist named Christopher Silvia. There's a guy from Newport. Like I guess there's a lot of Christopher Silvias.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's doing the research and coming across that, I'm like, wow, it's funny. And the reason I mentioned that, and to the point I'm trying to make here as I digress, is that I've never been attacked. And so as soon as I mentioned that I was, you know, my program director, Dave, I'm like, hey, I'm all about the community, right? Mm-hmm. And what's more important than the people that are running our community, right? And so reluctantly, I decided, let's get in. Let's find out who these people are. Right. You know, because Chris, you could sit there, right? And you could tell me where you stand, your policies, what you want. Like, that's fine. That's important. But who's Chris?
Right.
Who's Christopher, right? Do people really know who you are? And I think, just to be fair and honest, I think you're treated very unfairly on Facebook. I think people take advantage that you have a couple of outlets on social media, including, you know, the South End collaboration that you do with all these businesses, and I think you're an easy target. Correct. You know, I absolutely believe that, and I want to say that. And if I didn't think it was true, I wouldn't say it. With that said, myself being attacked and actually feeling like, hey, wait, I have to defend myself, right? Like somebody's not going to accuse me. I lived here my whole life, and somebody was telling me, oh, didn't you go somewhere else? Didn't you live somewhere?
That.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm saying to myself, well, you know. Honestly, at the end of the day, I don't have to explain. I'm not running for office,
right?
So I don't have to explain myself to anybody. But at the end of the day, I say to myself, well, what if somebody reads that? Where's my credibility, right? And when you insert that little bit of doubt, then everybody jumps out of it. The vultures come out of everywhere.
It's a mob mentality.
So to my point, to you, my friend, how do you find yourself managing that kind of interaction with these people?
Well, it's been about a year now that I've been really getting it right. I put myself into some situations that were controversial, I guess, like having the police department put up Easter baskets for children in need. That really kind of set it off. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that would have set it off. But, you know, there's people who don't like the police. They don't like the fact that I'm partnering with them. That really set it off. And it was hard. It was really hard. I've had to develop very thick skin very quickly.
Sure. So I imagine you have people that come in here all the time, right? And some of these people that come in here are probably some of those people that are writing and saying some of those things
for sure
on the social media. So then you say to yourself, you're like, wow, I think I know these people. And, you know, every day they come in and they patronize my store and they come in, they buy my products. And then all of a sudden I say, hey, I care enough about the city that I want to do something. And then all of a sudden, you're a problem.
That makes you a target as well.
Right?
When you care about your city,
Yep.
When you're looking for change, that makes you a target.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't know the pathology behind that, but it's bizarre.
So do you think it's bigger than just that? So obviously Coogan's been in office for a long time. And some would say that there's a lot of things happening that probably shouldn't be happening.
Correct.
There are a lot of people in power that probably shouldn't be in power, right? And so with that said, Coogan's been in office for, 6 years? 6 years straight. So I think 6 years is a long time. So I think you can develop certain habits. Either they're good or they're bad, right? Over the course of 6 years. And in this case, unfortunately, like just my own experience as a citizen of the city, I would say that we are not well. I'd say that the state of our city, our infrastructure, which I think that's, in my opinion, infrastructure is number one priority. If you can't get a fire truck to a fire, because the road isn't capable of doing so, then you have a serious problem. And now that, now when I travel through the city, I'm all over the city, right? And it's potholes. It's you know what? This really bothered me. I drive down Bedford Street every day to go to my studio. I look at the Fall River Fire Department right there across the street from where the police, and I remember how they have murals. And it's a seal. It's the fire department seal.
Yep.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's probably 4 or 6, depending on the. They're all rusted and dirty. I remember as a child walking down and seeing firefighters during the day, painting it, like the details. And now, so is that a representation of I'm not saying not the quality of our firefighters, but the lack of strength, right? Because if I don't have time to paint these things, if I don't have time to clean my bunkhouse, because I'm fighting fires and there's only 3 of us where there should be 5 of us. Right. So at some point you realize we're bleeding out.
We have a lack of self-esteem in the city, and I've said it for a year and a half now. There are things that people don't think are important that are incredibly important for the self-esteem of a city.
Sure.
And if you don't have any respect or self-esteem for yourself, you know what happens, right?
Yep.
There's no personal development.
Yep.
Everything falls apart. Your life is chaotic. And I think that's where we're at.
So I'm so glad you said that. I kind of walked right into this. Have you heard of, I'm sure you have, the broken window theory?
It's a little controversial, but
absolutely.
I'm all for it.
Right. I think, so you can have 2 sides to that, right? So they say that the data was skewed, and they did it twice, in the 1980s and then again Giuliani in the 90s, right? And as a matter of fact, so it was actually Republican. Both presidents at the time. Well, I'm sorry, not presidents. Reagan was a Republican, and Giuliani was a Republican.
Right.
So we could say that maybe that was a Republican idea, right?
Yeah.
And so the fight on that was, it doesn't work. But the truth is, they lowered crime by 56%. Like when they actually, and if the audience doesn't know, a quick explanation. So the idea is that if there is a building that has 1 broken window, it won't be long before somebody breaks the other windows. But if you repair that broken window right away and it looks nice, then no one is going to damage that, right? So if the subway isn't all full of graffiti, if the seats are clean, if people inherently take pride in something that looks nice, right? They're not going to throw trash on the ground because
100%.
there is no trash on the ground.
100%.
So that's where the theory kind of falls in for me. So I'm looking around going, wow, that would kind of fit what we're doing here, right?
Right. And again, it's controversial, but I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that we are the poster child for the broken window theory. Pleasant Street, right?
Yes.
They start boarding things up. The windows are.
Well, I see that you do a lot of that, bro. Like you're out there, you're visual, trying to clean these things up, and I think buy-in's a big part of that. And I think that's your goal, right? Get people involved.
Right. So it's all about getting people involved. It's not about putting my face out there. I don't need that. In fact, you saw when I did my campaign speech.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I was massaging the paper, like the words were coming off, right? I'm very uncomfortable with stuff like that. But the rallying that I can do has just been incredible. I mean, people from all over the country, from all over the world, actually. We've gotten toys for our toy drive from Paris, right?
Yeah.
Like we get it. You have to involve.
You just did the backpack drive too, right? I saw that, like Empire Hyundai. I saw that as well.
So we had so much that we had to, I had to call my friends and say, hey, listen, can we use your sales floor? And they said yes, right? Because we filled the cafe 8 times.
Wow.
Right?
Thank you.
And that's all part of getting the community involved. We can't do it by ourselves, nor should we.
No.
We're a community.
No.
That's what it means.
Yeah. So here we are, Christopher, an amazing establishment,
Thank
right?
you.
There's amazing energy in here.
Yeah.
I can tell you what, like, I feel like I'm drunk from the amazing smells that are in here. I'm like, my stomach is like, I don't know how you're not hearing it. But with that said, this takes time, and there's a lot of effort to get here.
Right.
To this place, what used to be Jeff's Ice Cream, right? So can we talk a little bit about that, your journey? I know you have a daughter, right?
I have 2 daughters.
2
and a
daughters,
son.
okay, and a son. Yeah, can we talk a little bit about that and
Sure.
how you get here, man? How does this all start? Where does the dream come from? Where do you decide you want to bake for a living? You know what I mean?
Listen, I learned to bake about 7 years ago, and I Googled myself into a
Really?
baker, right? And had any past experience. My grandfather was an iconic baker in the city, Plud's and Bertha's Bakery.
Yeah.
So maybe I had something instilled in me, but I had to learn it out of necessity, and that's how my life is. I have to do things out of necessity.
Sure.
Too.
So was it? So you say 7 years ago?
Yeah.
So what happened to you 7 years ago? Because obviously there's a change, Christopher. If you're not doing this before and now you're doing this, there's something that shifts in your life. And you're like, okay, this is where I'm going. This is my move.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I come from a life of struggle from birth until, you know, like a couple of years ago. I never owned a home, never had a brand new car, always had low-level jobs. Not that any job is low-level, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, struggle is real, my friend.
So my life was just 50 years of struggle, and I had a stroke, and I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, but after I kind of got myself better, I just said I'm going to do everything I possibly can.
Yeah. See, you know, I'm with you, bro, because to me, I've been doing the podcast for about 10 years.
Yeah.
But nothing really came to fruition till I turned 50. You know, something happened. There was a spark inside me. I've always been in pursuit of the best version of myself. I say to myself, I can never get it. I'll never see the best version of myself.
Right.
So I'm always in the pursuit of that. And when I sit down and talk to people like yourself and we tap into this journey, and then you say to me, Bobby, there was struggle, you know, and I was struggling. And I always see that, you know, it's a pattern, man, for people like us, that struggle sparks something inside of us. And you do one or two things, bro. Either you lay down and die, or you get up and you become stronger than anything you've ever known.
100%.
Right?
I've had to reinvent myself at least 50
I imagine.
times,
I mean, right?
I've done everything. I've tried, right? I've been married. I've had children. I'm a grandfather. You know, I could never get to the next level.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say after my stroke, something just kind of, again, right?
Yeah,
life is so fragile that I'm just going to do everything I possibly can.
I love that.
And that's what happened to me.
That's great. And so here we are. Yeah. We're here at this location. So you're also expanding, right? Are there other locations that you're?
So we tried to expand.
Okay. All right.
But one thing I'm really good at is controlling labor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just me and Nate.
Okay.
And we tried. One was a very temporary situation on New Boston Road. And then we tried to do 99, but because of licensing, wholesale licensing for other restaurants, I wanted to turn it into a food court.
Okay.
It was an amazing concept. And again, we're going with the theory that I want to try everything.
Sure.
But because of licensing, that didn't pan out. Yeah. So I tried it as long as I could for a couple of months. Yeah. And then this started to suffer, right? So what do? You stop the bleeding. Yeah. I think that's good business.
Absolutely. You pivot. You pivot.
Yep. I pivot. Yep. I come here and I make this work. Because this was starting to decline because there's only one person that works here that produces everything. Yeah, that's me.
So obviously you're running for the mayor, right? So as the mayor, do you see that you found that there are systems in place and regulations that just don't work for the people that want to?
100%.
You know, that there are these obstacles are absolutely impossible to, right? Because even if I want to do it, you say to yourself, well, I can't even get through the paperwork. Like, how the hell am I?
Right. So I've always been a big advocate for small business ever since I started. Right.
Sure.
People would say, "Why are you showing Barcelo's?
It's the lifeblood
Café?
Of this country, man.
Why are you showing Europa? They're your competition." Yeah. Well, they're not, because people attract people.
Sure.
Right. So I've always been huge on pushing small business. It's the engine of our economy.
Yeah.
It's what created Fall River, and we lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
We make it so hard for you to open a small business. It took me 7 months to open this place. Right. And about 34 visits to City Hall. Many times I wanted to give up.
Yeah.
But
see, so that's valuable, man. That struggle is valuable, especially in the role that you want to play for the city. To say, hey, listen, this is real to me.
It's going to be huge for me,
right? Because I think experience is very important. You know, and I've mentioned, and I'm sure you've listened to a couple of the last episodes that you've been talking with Chris Peckham.
Yep.
And the truth is, you know, you have to live in your environment, right? You cannot be on the outside. The experience, the fact that you're an entrepreneur, the fact that you're in a business and you see these people, that's value. That adds the value because the experience cannot be replaced by somebody who can write stuff on paper.
You have to understand the struggle.
Absolutely.
I know how it is
100%.
to be poor. I know how it is to struggle your entire life and always try to reach for success or improvement. I know that struggle, so I can relate to this city very well.
So I know you're very passionate about the homeless. You're very passionate about the children. I know that you've got your nonprofit as well. That's and that is called
Action Fall River.
Action Fall River.
We did that because Nate will tell you the first year and a half we didn't make any money because I just got obsessed with doing sensory things for children and I started to experience the homeless situation.
Yeah.
We were spending our own money. Everything that we were making was going into the community. And then someone said, hey, you got to open a nonprofit because you're going to fail.
Yeah, right. Wow. And so obviously we're talking a little bit about the homeless. Do you have a solution? Do you think you have a solution? Do you think you have a valid plan that would say, hey, I think we can help these people. Because I think, honestly, it's not rocket science, right? But I think it's a very delicate situation because you're trying to help people who don't want your help. And how do you convince these people that it's in their best interest to just surrender, like just give in to living a happy, productive life in a great city where there's a lot of opportunity?
I think you got to give them a path forward, right? I mean, we're not here to say surrender to anyone, right? That's your personal choice if you want to surrender. And addiction is so deep. My experience is solely based on the rail trail, right?
Yep.
So that's a whole different population.
Yep.
That's not an old man with a puppy and a tin can on the corner asking for 25 cents. This is a desperate community. It's not up to us to tell them. You got to surrender.
Well, when I say surrender, my sense is that when you realize you cannot continue this way anymore, like these people are dying, they're literally just fading away in these,
two of them
in these dark places, right?
Right.
And my point is saying is like at some point when I had Kyle Cusack on my show,
Yep.
Who struggled with substance, and he said, Bobby, like finally when I came to the point where I said, hey, I surrender, like I want you to help me, he knocked on the door and they said, hey, come back in 2 weeks. And
I'm going through that right now.
Right? You know what I mean? And so like that, to me, I think when you come to that moment in your life where you realize that you cannot continue like this, right? Like that's a profound moment.
Right.
We both experience that, right?
Sure.
We both experience that in different forms. But I think people that overcome substance abuse, these people are heroes. Like this is an impossible feat. You know, I quit smoking. Like that's the only comparison I have. I feel like a jerk when I say this, but I remember how difficult it was to quit smoking. And this is nicotine. This isn't heroin. This isn't crack cocaine.
I did it for 34 years, so I know.
Right.
And then I went to vaping, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a coward when it comes to, I can't say that I just gave it up. So I also know the struggle of
Right.
that goes far deeper, their kind of addiction.
Yeah.
And I just saw things that in my entire 55 years I've never seen before. Disease and destruction to the planet, destruction to human beings. It was just awful, and it just kind of propelled me in all kinds of different directions. I don't think we're doing it right. And that's going to get me some attacks. I just don't think we're doing it right.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think just picking people up and moving them doesn't do any good, right?
It doesn't do any good.
It doesn't do any good.
And I think that, listen, there's money to be made on the homeless.
I've heard that. I've never known that. Maybe I'm ignorant to that.
It's true.
I never knew that.
There are people who get paid to take care of these people, right? But I spent an entire winter on the rail trail, and I wasn't impressed with the care.
Yeah. Well, how are they even providing the care? Is it showing up and saying, "Hey, here's some needles"? Like, what exactly are they offering these people? Is it clothes? Is it food?
What we were doing, because myself and my friend Ryan went there to clean up the rail trail. But me being naive, I've never seen anything like this in my life.
It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous.
We started to head off the trail, and then we started finding all of these encampments everywhere.
Wow.
And what we saw was just crazy. Like I've never seen anything like it in my entire life.
You know what's funny? I don't know what his name is, and I would give him the credit if I knew his name. But there's someone that's walking around those trails with a drone. Have you seen this? And
Mark.
Is it Mark?
It is.
I was blown away, bro. I know exactly what you're saying because when I watched those videos, I was like, where is this? This isn't Fall River.
But it's even worse when you're there, right? Because you get the smells.
Yeah.
You get the suspense of, am I going to walk on a needle? You just see horrific things in your city. And it wasn't being talked about until and I'm going to get attacked for this too, until we brought it to light. It wasn't being talked about because I've lived in the city. I never knew we had homeless people living in the rail trail. Right? There's a whole community.
Right.
So,
And you know, and this isn't something that just started, right? So we look at these communities years, and it almost looked like you said encampments, and these people are sophisticated, right? These places are built
For
right?
sure.
Like, there's a guy right down on where the incinerator is. He's got waterfront property over there. Like he's literally on the pond, and it's been there forever. And you say to yourself, it's unfortunate that at no point these people realize that there's an opportunity to take their lives back. But if you're satisfied, and this is kind of where this all comes full circle. I find that in life, when you become comfortable,
right,
in your environment, then you don't,
you don't
right?
see, you don't see an option, right? I mean, I think they have to be presented with better options, and I think they require a lot of work. this going to someone and saying, hey, let me bandage your infected arm. Like I've seen people with arms that are half eaten away, right? Let me just bandage that.
Tragic, man.
That's outreach. And then you go away. I don't think that works. These little Band-Aids, this is a huge problem.
Right.
We spent $3 million on homelessness and it's tripled.
Right.
The population has tripled.
Yep.
What's wrong?
Yeah. So do you think, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to put you on the spot and be like, hey, what's your plan? But do you think getting the right people, right? Because obviously, which brings me to my next point. And I'm trying to move along because I know you're a busy guy. Obviously, the corruption around us, it's you know what? I only say this, and I say it very, like, in most cases, you're like, hey, there's corruption. I'm wide open with it because they're not they're not hiding it anymore. Like they're not even pretending. So at this point, there are names that keep coming up in the research that I do in this realm that I never knew existed, and then you see these same names coming up over and over and over again, and you're like, wait a minute here,
Right.
this all makes sense now, you know?
Right. And you're talking about the homeless situation.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the homeless situation and as well as the dysfunction of our government at this point. Like there's an actual, like, when I'm talking to Chris Peckman, Chris is like, Bobby, do you know this toxic waste that the incinerator do? They were dumping thousands of gallons of paint into the earth, and then regardless, shame on whoever did it, right? Shame on them.
Shame on who's ever letting it continue.
But how long has it been? There it is right there. You just nailed it. How long has it been you people have known about this and you've allowed this to seep into the earth all this time? You allowed people to build homes over there? Like, to me, that is red alert. That is an absolute red alert because you are now putting people's lives in danger. There's no consideration that there's a waterway over there. There's no consideration that these people, it's like a dead end. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, and you're not even admitting it. Look, if it happened that long ago, then who are you holding responsible? Mayor Viveris? Blame him. Like, what are you going to do to him now? Nothing. So blame Viveris, say it was him, or even Lambert. Blame him too. Who cares? But just get it cleaned up. Yeah. Get in there. Stop pointing the fingers. Stop trying to build shit on top of it. Do it right. And so to me, that situation encompasses this current administration. And that has been in power for the last 6 years.
Yeah, I think out of sight, out of mind is the strategy
There
here.
it is.
And we experience that on the rail trail. As long as they're quiet, as long as they're behind the bushes, they're okay.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think that is a great explanation for the entire city. Just out of sight, out of mind. Let's flood the zone with the waterfront talk, building that. But let's forget about Pleasant Street. Let's forget about East Main Street. Let's forget about the South End. Columbia Street is crumbling.
The Rocky Mountains.
Disaster.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Right. So,
And that's my culture. That's my heritage. I'm
For
100%
sure.
Azorian. And so when I see that, it breaks my heart. It really does.
you show it, you bring it to their attention. Of course, you go through the attacks because you brought it to light. And then they say something like, well, we're cleaning it. It wasn't because of you. It was because we have the feast. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So 364 days prior to the feast, it's okay for the residents, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think, listen, there's 90% of the people in Fall River, I think, that aren't spoken for or advocated for or cared about.
Right.
Right?
Right. The silent majority.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the silent
That's
majority.
just the way it is.
Yeah, the silent majority.
I see these people. I see hundreds of people a week. I talk to a lot of people. I have yet to find anyone who says, I just love it here.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
And recently I'm starting to hear, I want to move my family out, right? From lifelong residents. I've never felt this way. Now I want to start moving my family out.
Yep. Yep.
I'm hearing it all over the place.
Well, I think the citizens are being pinched out. I think that's exactly
For
what's
sure,
happening. You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
It's like,
I mean, when you have an idea, when your leader says the rents are brutal, that bodes well for the city. There may be a little bit of truth to that, right? But how out of touch? People can't afford the rents,
Right.
And your leader is saying this. I just think,
and the
it's
ones
bad.
that can are getting vouchers. It's a lose-lose situation. You know what I mean? Because you're creating people and you're just creating dependency. You're not creating citizens that are going to contribute back to the city. They're just consuming, and I think that's we're on the scale that scale is tipped so off. I was talking to Jordan, and Jordan is like, Bobby, he's like, I am a product of the city, man. He's like, I grew up in Watapa Heights. Like, I was in the projects. Like, look at me. And I say to myself, I'm like, yeah, man, that's true. That's so true. We don't even have that anymore. Like, there isn't even an opportunity for anybody. You know what I mean? You know, we took the schools and we literally put everybody in one building. So we were talking about there's no more like pockets of schools and there's no more rivalries and right, the South End, the North End. Like,
It's warehousing.
It was exactly.
Yeah,
It's literally we just get everybody in one place. It's cheaper on the bus. Look, yeah, but what's the experience, man? What's the experience for these kids? These kids, again, I always say this, and I don't want to sound corny, but the children are the future of the city. And so
100%.
if we present them with nothing but greatness, then they're going to want to make it even better, bro. And that's what I see in you, Chris. I see a vision, and I see someone that really genuinely cares. You know, we can talk about policies. You know, I had an interview with Boomer last night, and Boomer is very policy driven. He's talking policies, and I admire him for that.
Yep.
But I also there needs to be an element of compassion, and there needs to be an element of understanding for the situation that we're in. Like, I don't know that you come in with a bulldozer, bro. I don't know that that's a solution. You know what I mean? But this is just one man's opinion.
Right. Listen, we all need policies and procedures, right? That's how government works.
Yep.
I'm not going to be your polished politician, nor do I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I do know policy and I know procedures, and I think I have a better way. That's it, right? I think your policies and procedures have gotten us here, and it needs to be flipped on its head.
Sure.
Everything.
Sure.
The kids here have no childhood, right, in these neighborhoods, which is why I started doing things like free Easter events, free Halloween events, free Christmas events, right? Because I saw that they don't have a childhood around here.
Right.
How ridiculous is that? That in America, it just seems like they want to put a blanket on Fall River and just expose part of the city to the good, and the rest are just keep them quiet.
Right. Just give them enough.
I'm just done.
Just give them the grain. Keep them. I'm
just done with that.
Right,
I'm done with that. From all the people I talked to.
So I'm glad you mentioned that, which brings us to our next point. So you came to a realization, right? So things are happening around you. At what point are you sitting and you go, okay, like, I'm going to do this? Because I know the consequences. Once you agree and say, hey.
I didn't know the consequences.
Oh, really? You didn't?
I didn't know.
Okay.
Listen,
All right.
I didn't know they were going to be that severe.
Okay.
I had been attacked online and stuff, right? But for dumb things.
Yeah.
I never knew the level of how, and people told me, you're going to get skewered, you're going to get killed. I didn't believe it, but it's happening. But it's bigger than me now.
Sure.
Right? I'm 58 years old.
Yep.
I can take it.
Sure.
This is bigger than me now.
Yeah, sticks and stones, man.
Still hurts.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But I've developed coping skills for that.
Yeah, and I think that's important. Like,
Yeah.
especially as a leader in this role, you have to be able to just let the shit roll off the back of your head. You know what I mean? You just got to move forward. And understanding, you're already an entrepreneur, so you understand what it takes. Like,
Right.
Nothing is easy, bro. Nobody's going to hand you anything.
Right.
But I think, and this is just a comment. When I was talking to Jordan and also Chris, I said, there's no such thing as a perfect mayor. Like, the perfect mayor doesn't exist. It'd be like the perfect human. Like, they just don't exist.
Right.
But to me, the best candidate is smart enough to realize where to get help. Like, where to turn to. Like, you know what, Chris, you're a great baker. I'm not sure you're a plumber. So I'm not sure I'm coming to you for plumbing advice, right?
I wouldn't.
Right? So
Yeah.
you are going to call a professional plumber to say, hey, I need assistance. To me, that's the next mayor.
You have to be able to build a team, right? You
Ab-
probably would not
100%.
be able to do that, do this
Yep.
without him,
Yep.
right?
Yes,
So you have
exactly.
to find the best.
Yes.
And I'm good at that.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I'm good at building teams. I'm good at building bridges. I mean, I have friends, Jordan,
Yeah.
on the very extreme side of crazy, and on the right, and on the left, and right down the middle, right?
Sure,
I have a
sure.
very eclectic group of
I
friends.
see you as a connector. I do see you as a joiner connector.
I want
do see that.
everyone
Yes, I do
to
see
do
that.
the
You're
work.
approachable. You're an approachable sir. Yeah.
You got to do. Everyone's got to do the work, right?
Yep.
You can't leave. That's why we're in the situation we're in. We've left so many people out, and it's only the few that are doing everything for us, and they're just not doing it right. Yeah, it's a big pie.
Yeah. Right.
People need a piece.
So, and I think a lot of accountability, obviously accountability. I don't know, again, I try to be very careful with the things that I say, because this is just a man's opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not a professional in the political realm, but I think it's important to hold people accountable for their actions. But I also believe that you can get caught up in it. So, Chris, you become the mayor tomorrow, right? And you're saying, so I'm going to clean this up. And then all of a sudden your 100% focus is on getting all the corruption out of the city.
Yep.
Well, what's happening with everything else? Right? So I almost think to myself, this next mayor has to be multifunctional. Like, it's a matter of taking care of the citizens and making sure that they're getting the attention and assigning the right people to deal with that.
Right.
While still being on this realm to be like, you know what, there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of rats in here, and we got to clean this up.
Right.
That is a monumental task, Chris.
You have to build a team,
Yes,
right? You
yes.
have. Listen, my friends have been on a job interview for years for this, right? That I wasn't aware of it, but I've seen what they can do. I know some good people, and you build a team, and that's what I've done. I could clean up an area of the city and have heavy equipment there and dump trucks and 50 people in an hour, right? I know how to do that. I know how to build a team. No mayor, I guarantee you, in the history of Fall River, has ever run the city by himself.
Right. Agreed.
I want to change these people out.
You know, and I think it's even bigger than just these people, because with the state, with Healy, with everything that's going, I see that there's a lot of function in this person. So it's important to be a connector. It's important to be a joiner, because
you have to be.
None of these people are going to want to talk to you. If you're a jerk, they're not going to talk to you.
Right.
But I think if you can grease the palms, if you can be
don't say that word. Don't say grease the palms.
Well, in the sense that you can be a connector. Like, in other words, like, you go in a room and be like, "Hey, I'm an asshole." Nobody's going to talk to you.
Right.
But if you can go in there and just be cordial and just realize that, hey, listen, and again, terrible phrase, grease the palms. But I'm looking at it as a sense of just being approachable, just being communicative, and being able to work with other people, and not having a stance that you're all going down. I'm taking you all out. That's it. It's over.
Right. I kind of have that stance a little bit. I think that the residents of Fall River have been screwed for decades, for a long time.
Yep.
And
you know what, though? It's true.
Think about it.
But there were a lot of people that didn't, right? So there's the majority of us got screwed.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people in this city that made out just fine. And a lot
on what though?
Right, exactly. Right. And I think a lot of these people, they were just kind of like, "Oh, just don't look over here. Yeah, just don't look over here, and I'm just going to go over here." Right.
So that's kind of selfish, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
You're making out on the backs of people who aren't, and there's a lot more of the people who aren't, right? And listen, maybe we won't ever tip the scale or balance it out. But we have to try.
Sure.
We have to try.
Sure.
There are people who made a ton of money off Fall River.
That's crazy when you say, right? I didn't even know that. You're like, hey, people make money off homeless people. And I'm like, really? Like,
well, it's a business.
Yeah. You know what? I'm sitting here thinking about it. It's true. They get picked up. They get brought to a location.
Shelters,
medications.
Outreach workers.
Like, that's a monumental.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an industry, right? Again, it's not the little man on the corner with a tin cup and a puppy and a blanket around him. It's not that anymore. There's some money to be made in that arena.
And again, it's not just us, right? So our surrounding areas as well. A lot of you got Boston, so now you got the train. A lot of these people now can travel from Boston into Fall River. So, you know, and I think that was one of the biggest concerns when they put the train in was, well, are we going to just be bringing in a lot of drugs and a lot of what? But again, you cannot stop progress, right? Just based on fears that it's not going to work out that way. Because the truth is, I think connecting us to the big cities, being able to go to Cape Cod, I think that is amazing.
For education, for nightlife, for everything, right? But we can't even do that right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After 3 months, I go to the train station and I video. It looks like a third world country. Like, we can't even do that right.
Yeah.
It seems like we give something to the people. We give them hope for about 24 hours. Right?
Yeah.
And then it's just forgotten about.
Yeah.
It deteriorates. And now it's a Fall River problem. We have a huge problem with that.
Right. So do you think a lot of this is like a formula, right? So when you put the pieces together, I say, okay, well, the train is here. They're building apartment buildings all over the place.
Right.
Like, they're just like random. You know, I'm like, wow, they're going to put, like, this is Sabre Auto Body. Like, they're actually going to put an apartment building across the street from Sabre Auto Body. I mean, the truth is, yes. And they say, okay, well, where are the people coming from? And then I'm like, well, if the train is here, then people now can pick a 45-minute train ride up to Boston, and now they can live here and they can work there. That's the best case scenario, right? You're bringing in higher paying, right, people that are typically making a little extra money. They're coming back here into the city, and they're going to spend that money and invest in the city, right, in the restaurants. That's the dream. That's the hope. But is that happening?
Listen, I lived in Roxbury in Boston for about a year.
Okay.
Right? The reason I was there is because it's a world-class city, right? There's amenities, there's nightlife. You can get up at 1 o'clock in the morning and go get a slice of pizza. There's Fenway, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that someone from Boston is going to have a good time in Fall River right now, right? The streets roll up at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Right? We close at 2.
Yep.
Right? I'm not seeing that that optimism in that.
Well, so
unless we get the city.
Yes. So like Pier 52,
right.
Canned Heat, right? Like
Right.
I think of these new restaurants that are really just, I mean, beautiful, like a Tequila Lime, right? And Morgan's, I believe it's Morgan's Cantina. Like these are all great new restaurants that bring in a lot of people. And I think, again, and this is just my perception, and it's not just people. Like these are higher level people that are investing, people that might have a little bit more money. And you say, well, this is attractive to the city. You know, people will look at that and be like, what, you want to? Yes, but you need to support the city. You need, right? Like it can't
take
be
it
all.
all. Listen, take it all.
Yes.
If you want to give us money, we'll take it, right?
Yep.
But I think that I think you got to give something back, right? We're not peasants. We're not. We need a trade-off.
Right. So again, talking about restaurants, even in that realm, it seems like it's always the same people, bro. It's always the same people doing this.
Well, down by the waterfront, right? I mean, the Pelletiers and the Lunds are geniuses. They kind of listen. If anyone's going to get the credit for developing the waterfront, I'm going to say it's Carl Pelletier and his sister, right? They have amazing restaurants and they know how to do it. And Carl's a genius with restaurants.
Yeah.
But they can only do so much. They're a small family.
Sure. Sure.
Why isn't anyone else doing it? Why aren't they doing it on Pleasant Street? Why isn't Pleasant Street
Agreed.
the Atwells Avenue?
Yep.
Or South Main Street, right?
So
Why?
79 project, right?
Yep.
We obviously see that there's a lot of space to build.
Yep.
Okay. To your last comment, Pleasant Street, Bedford Street, South Main Street, all these streets, empty buildings. So do we develop 79 and put all these buildings in, or do we say no? Well, let's develop what we have and then build something down in 79. Like
What makes sense?
What makes sense?
Right.
What makes sense?
So clean up your city, right? Clean up Pleasant Street, which got Fall River to where it is, or South Main Street, right? Those people worked hard. They had great businesses. Pleasant Street was a booming economy over there in and of itself.
I remember.
These are all little micro neighborhoods. Boston does an amazing job at having micro neighborhoods.
Yes.
Jamaica Plain, Roxbury. There's no vision. There's just no vision. It's just, I don't know, the politics around here, it's like a relic of the past, the 1970s, right?
Blue laws everywhere.
Terrible.
Yeah, right.
No one's got any vision.
So I feel like the Travelers Building, what are we doing with that? That's a beautiful building. That's a beautiful building. What could we do with that? Could we provide medical services there? Could we maybe it's the homeless center, right? Maybe it's the veteran home. Like, again, these are great buildings. They're all over the place. But I think the longer we wait, the worse, right? Because now the roofs are leaking. Now the windows are broken, right? And it just, like, even on Pleasant Street, that just happened. That whole building just collapsed.
Half those buildings on Pleasant Street are condemned, right? You see the big X's, that means condemned. But you've been on Atwells Avenue before,
Yes, sir.
Right? Columbia Street.
Yep.
Right. We keep hearing they're gonna turn it over. They're gonna start developing that. Right. Why? Because it's attached to the waterfront.
Yeah.
But you're forgetting about the rest of the city. We have the foundation. Why not build it up?
Yeah.
I mean, the rail trail is a natural asset, a natural resource for us.
Right.
So we get the homeless out of the rail trail. We hope they don't come back to that, because no human being belongs living outside.
So will you offer that to developers? Is that something that you're going to be like, hey, listen, everybody, like, let's build, like, come here, come
100%,
come in,
100%.
So why wouldn't they do that now? I know that's almost a rhetorical question, but why wouldn't they do that now, Chris?
There's no vision,
right?
Everything is just so civic and stuck in the 80s. And it's just the mentality is just let it go, and move on to the next project and hope that's the one that's going to be the golden ticket, right? We have golden tickets already here.
Sure.
Let's just shine them up a little bit.
Sure.
Right? And do what we can. Because what are we going to do with Pleasant Street? What are we going to do with East Main? What are we going to do with the South End, Columbia? They're here.
Yeah.
Why not utilize them?
Right.
We could be a dining destination.
I love to eat, bro. So for me, all these restaurants, this is, Cove, like, this is what I do. I love to sit down, have a meal, have a conversation with someone, and to be doing it home. What a great feeling that is, to know that I'm contributing to my community, and even here, bro, we're sitting down, having a conversation. Like, to me, this is what drives the motivation of the city. It's what we are. We always came from the ashes, brother. Like, we were textile. I watched my mom work 2 jobs, Whittington Dalmet. You know what I mean? Like, she was a seamstress. She came here with a vision and a dream. I am first generation. I am the American dream, brother. You see it. It's here. I am here. And so I'm very, very, I'm very protective of that, And I say to myself, if I can do it, I'm not special, bro. Anybody can do it.
Yeah,
You know, you just have to want it. You just have to want to have it. Just look around. It's a beautiful place to live. It really is.
It is.
But we've allowed the wrong people to take control and make decisions.
So you just solved everything
For so long, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know?
So let's get more polished politicians who know the verbiage,
Yep.
know what to say,
Yep.
The experience.
Absolutely,
Let's get more
bro.
of them.
Yes. Yeah. Just not.
Just get someone who knows the struggle and has a vision. Someone who's been there, who sees something better. I do see something better for the city of Fall River. I ran because I just don't feel like we're going to get it unless someone super special gets in there.
So do me a favor. You're talking to the person who's never voted, the person who won't vote.
I never voted.
What are you saying to them?
Well, I never voted, right? I just registered this year.
Okay.
So I know that. I know the voter apathy. I know that when you're struggling and it's hard, politics is the last thing you turn to for hope, right? Because if it's not working for you, why get involved?
Right.
But when I started to do all of this outreach and this community stuff, and I started to really pay attention to my community, that's when you say, I've got to get involved, right? Because whenever you do something for the community, you're going to step on toes.
Of course.
And that's when the politicians come in and they start circling the wagon. And you can't touch that, because if you do it, you've exposed something. I exposed a lot. And that's what forced me
Well, I
to
think
get
that's
into this.
necessary, bro. I think that's necessary.
100%.
Yeah, it's necessary.
100%.
Yeah.
We need to know more,
Yeah.
right? I'm sure if you just swung open City Hall doors, no telling what you'd find, right?
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that.
Right. So debates are coming up.
Yep.
It's, September 4th, if I'm not mistaken.
Is
4th,
it
right? Yeah, September 4th.
Yeah.
So, Chris, let me ask you, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about debating? How do you feel about, being in a room with these other competitors?
Listen, they're going to know more than me. They're going to be a little more polished, for sure. But I'm going to stand on my message that I'm a worker, and I'm going to work. I'm going to do the work that the people want done, right? Probably never going to be a polished speaker,
Sure.
right? But I'm going to work.
But that's okay. Chris, that's okay.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
I think it is okay. Right?
Absolutely, because I don't think speaking or being a polished speaker is a demonstration of a great leader. You know what I mean?
Right.
Great leader. Some of the most amazing leaders of our existence were very quiet men or women who didn't say much at all. You know what I mean?
They all had one thing in common, is that they're willing to do the work, and they have vision.
Yes.
And they have no fear. And I'm not beholden to anyone, right? Yep. Nobody likes me in the city at this point. I'm not beholden to anyone. I don't have any friends I owe. I'm not corruptible. I don't really. Money is not my motivator. Never has been my motivator. To my demise, actually, right? Money's not the goal here. This is bigger than me. The stories that I'm being told by these people.
Yeah.
I get 20 messages a day from people saying, I can't afford my rent.
Yeah.
There's a guy at a hotel right now in Somerset who's got 4 kids. He can't afford it. Like, I get these, and I can show you my phone all day long.
Right. Right.
So I feel it more than any of them. I get it all day, every day.
Yeah.
I know the struggle.
And that's, again, that's a lot to grasp. That's a lot to take a hold of. And I back to our original point, I think surrounding yourself with the right people who can engage in those situations appropriately, right? Because, if you try to do everything yourself, we know, bro,
I've developed a network now that I've helped a young mom who's died and left 2 children, right? I was able to gather the entire community, and I have a network in place at this point. Right? I have a therapist, mental health therapist. I have a doctor who's willing to treat people for free.
That's great.
So I've developed this entire community that can instantly respond to this phone when someone says, a homeless person passed away, you really can't afford to bury him, right? We have a funeral home who'll do it. Right, I buried 3
so
people.
Crazy to hear you say that, man. It's just nuts to hear you say that, man.
My life has become surreal, right?
Yeah.
So, in knowing all the things that I've done and the people that I've helped, I feel that with the power of departments in the city behind me, I can just explode and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I agree. Again, and I said, you're a joiner, so I think people will want to follow you. I think people have that. When you look at that, you can look at all the candidates and everyone offers a lot, but I think you have the social element. I think you have people's attention. I think people are looking towards you going, what's the right answer, Chris? What's the right answer? And sometimes there is no right answer.
There is no right answer.
Right? There is no right answer.
The right answer is we have to come together and you know what? This is a buzzword. We have to come together as a community, but I mean it.
Right.
Right. The residents need to be involved in helping themselves. We need a central government that respects the people and wants them to do better, and the entirety of the city, not just a few.
Yeah, right.
Right. I'm so sick of people benefiting while the majority doesn't. It just it's hurting my heart that so many people are suffering.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say that the Robin Hood theory is very romanticized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you give to take from the rich and give to the poor.
I don't want to take from the rich. Congratulations, I love that.
Exactly. Right. My point is like it should be balanced. That shouldn't be necessary. You know what I mean? Like that shouldn't even be a situation. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to sit here and talk to you, bro. Like I want to keep going. I want to keep talking, bro. But I know you've got a lot going on. I really appreciate that. Letting us come in here today. And first of all, I want to say thank you for allowing us to sit down and have a conversation with you. Again, the show is all about truth and honesty, and the pursuit of the best version of yourself, my man. And to be here, looking around, feeling the energy, I got to tell you what, my stomach is growling.
I do have to say though,
you're
like up and coming.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that, man.
A lot of respect. You're reaching new levels.
Thank you, bro. And I think people are ready for truth. Dude, I'm 80. This is episode 88, and it's just happening now. And I think people are just finding that, hey, wait a minute, the truth is out there.
We're in a truth desert in this area. I'm sorry to say.
No, it's true.
We're in a
Absolutely.
Truth desert, right?
Absolutely.
Everyone's got an agenda. Everyone's got a perspective. Like we need someone who just tells it like it is.
Yeah. And so real quick, how do you come in for coffee with Nate? How does that work? Are you doing that once a week, coffee with Nate? Come in, sit down, have a coffee with Nate? Is that?
No, someone actually said you put coffee with Nate, so they think it's about Nate. It's your show so I don't know why.
That's funny. That's great. I'm saying maybe we can have coffee with Nate. Nate, next time you sit down with us, bro, what do you think? Sure. All right, we'll have to do that again. Next time he invites us to come back, you know what I mean? Listen, my friend, you got a lot coming your way, and again, to the point I was trying to make is I'm very grateful that I was the first one to get in here, because I think it's fair for people to know who you are, Chris. Mm-hmm. I think it's before people start attacking you, whatever it is, the Forever Reporter, whoever's coming for you, bro. I want people to know at core who you are, that you're a partner, you're a father, you're a grandfather, you're a citizen of the city.
I'm not a complicated individual.
Right.
They don't have to try so hard.
But really. It's got to be more than social media, bro. I think a lot of people know the social media Chris. They don't know this Chris. They don't know the compassionate individual who really is looking out for everybody. You know what I mean? And that's the message I wanted people I already knew this, man. Everybody I talk to says great, wonderful things about you. So for me to get in here and just to get your voice and capture it and share it with my audience so that, they can understand what it is that, at one point, it has to be more than the numbers, bro. The numbers matter. I'm a numbers guy, but at some point the numbers aren't enough. There needs to be some compassion and caring in there, and sometimes just putting people in jail is not the solution. You got to work through these things. So the easy answers are not always the best ones.
I agree,
my friend. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving up your time and actually putting your hat in the ring. To help support this city, man.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to bring it back.
I appreciate you, Chris. I hope I can call you friend, my man.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Bobby. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really appreciate it. Remember, follow, and subscribe to The Bobby Couto Show, available on all your social media platforms. This one will drop real quick. We're going to, like I said, I mentioned, not to bring up again, I did Boomer yesterday, and I just want to keep it fair with both of you. So I'm going to release both. I like to release these both at the same time. I think it's a fair. Again, I don't want to be biased with anybody. You know what I mean? I just want to release the truth, and so I think that's what I'm going to do. So I digress. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, guys. To be here in your establishment and recording this episode is pretty monumental for me.
Thank you.
I'm humbled by that, and so thank you, Nate. I appreciate you, bro. Chris, thank you. David, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And again, go like and follow the show, and remember, everybody, all roads lead here.